Time for the last meltdown of this week. This meltdown is, why is everyone so down on Gunther and Jey Uso? This is the biggest match on the WrestleMania card and should main event night one. I don't understand all the hate that these two get. The Yeet movement is the biggest thing in pro wrestling right now. Look, no arguments here. The Yeet movement is big. It still has some legs. It's still fun to do. The issue is that in order for it to survive long-term, it's got to sprout roots. It has to be defined in something deeper than just a crowd swell. And Triple H really isn't giving us that. He's giving us, with Jey Uso and Gunther, the most generic David and Goliath story that we've seen in WWE in a very long time. And I'm a Jey Uso guy, and there's so much potential there for Jey Uso. I truly still believe that. But I'm going to say something that right now is going to sound like a crazy person statement, but years down the road, I think may be looked at as more of a fond statement, and that is, I think the Yeet movement is going to be looked at as maybe the best and worst thing that ever happened to Jey Uso, right? Because before the Yeet movement started, Jey Uso was starting to flush out his character. He was having to figure out who he was, right? He had to cut promos. He had to talk. He had to kind of bring the character all together. He was finding a voice. He was still kind of crafting a moveset. Then all of a sudden, he says the word Yeet. This Yeet movement just takes over, and it's like Triple H saw a gold mine. And for Triple H to say, hey, we are going to package Jey Uso for the 6 to 12-year-old audience, and we are going to pause all development on his character, and let's just milk this cow for every drop that it has. And then all of a sudden, Jey Uso's now just a jumbled mess of noises. Every Jey Uso promo, it doesn't have substance, it doesn't have words, there's no heartfelt emotion. We can't get behind the man because every promo is Yeet, yeah, what? It's like, what the fuck did he just say? What were those? Yeah, stand on business, 10 toes down, what? It's like, what? I don't fucking understand this. He's speaking like the fucking kids speak, and that's fine. But I feel like there was something there. It also doesn't help, Jay. I'm going to go on record. It doesn't help. It doesn't do much for your cause when you go out there and you botch a top rope dive like Top Dollar. Like, you got to nail those. This is your moment. This is your big opportunity. I'm not saying shit doesn't happen, but like in your moment, you got to make sure you're flawless. Don't give people shit to talk about. When you hit those spears in the ring, I understand you're trying to be safe, but you can't look like a wet noodle, Jey Uso. You really got to, you either hit the spear or let's find a different finishing move, right? But the problem for me is that overall, I see the major cracks right now in the Jey Uso foundation. And let me go on record. Once again, I don't want to state this enough. I am a fan of Jey Uso. I think he's fun. I think his optics are great. I just fear that this will be a blip on the WWE radar. And once this settles down a bit, that the crowds are going to get tired. And then the question will be asked, can he evolve? Because already, the internet wrestling community is starting to turn on Jey Uso. I'm seeing the memes. I'm seeing the post where they go, entrance, 17 minutes long. Wrestling match, 1 minute long. 2 botches. Celebration, another 20 minutes long. So I'm seeing this kind of assassination of character that's beginning to happen. And so the question is, can Jey Uso evolve? I said this last week, right? This build to Gunther and Jey Uso got extremely stale extremely quick. Now, it didn't have to. This is just, when you go the David versus Goliath route, your Goliath better be savage, right? Better be a great heel. And Gunther's just not bad enough. He's just not villain enough to make Jey Uso feel like the vulnerable David. So we're being sold that like Jey Uso, who's had hell of accomplishments in his career, we're being sold that it's insurmountable for him to beat Gunther, even though we've watched Gable beat Gunther. We've watched Sami Zayn beat Gunther. We've watched people beat Gunther or have at least solid matches with Gunther. So this, you can't sell me on this story. I will go on record as continue saying Gunther immediately after this match, if he loses, he needs a babyface turn. He's not a heel. He needs to really just be kind of an elite wrestler who sticks to his business. I know that they've kind of always wanted Gunther to feel, I think, like a Rusev, except that Gunther doesn't have that sixth gear he could put it in to really go like full on heel. He could benefit from just a little bit of like a lesson from MJF on how to take cheap shots and promos that effectively get the crowd excited. But here's the reality. This is what I'd say. I don't think Triple H ever had any intention for this match to be a main event. When people are talking about 20-minute entrance, 1-minute match, 20-minute celebration, I think you're just now catching on to the formula that Triple H knows is tried and true. A Jey Uso match is just a party. It's just an optic. It's a visual moment. 80,000 people yeeting. The Vegas clubs all playing Jey Uso's theme song. It will be great. The problem is, what then? Like, wrestling keeps moving. There will be a Monday Night Raw and they will celebrate and they will yeet with him. But what happens a month down the road? What happens 2 months down the road? What happens 3 months down the road when the crowd gets tired of the same old gimmick? The yeet will exist forever, but the problem is there has to be substance to carry him, because when you're champion, it is a very different situation than when you're chasing. And that, to me, can expose a lot of the cracks in the foundation. I don't think with Jey Uso that, you know, the original post was, what's with all the hate? I don't think you're seeing hate. I think you're just starting to see a realization from some of the fan base that this is a fun moment, but what is the evolution of Jey Uso? With Gunther, I can make the argument it's hate, because I would make the argument that Gunther has underperformed ever since losing the Intercontinental Championship. I will 100% believe there is a level of hate. But this was never meant to WrestleMania, like main event WrestleMania. So you can lower your expectations. I'm glad. I'm happy this is your favorite part of wrestling. Like I said, I think that's what makes wrestling fun, is when you lock onto something. Like I'm all in on Bianca Belair, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. Although I know most people aren't. I'm glad that you've locked onto this. I think where it gets messy is when you take what you like and you elevate it to like an unrealistic expectation. This is going to be a good match. This is going to be a match. It's going to have a hell of an entrance. It's going to have a hell of a celebration, but it's not going to, I just can't see it main eventing one. I could be wrong. Maybe it main event's night one, and maybe for the first time in a long time, Roman Reigns is just in the middle of the card. I really don't see that being a possibility.
Head down, we're ready to rumble. The casual pod don't stumble. No peace, no rest in this fight.